Well, good morning, everybody. Now that the gang's all here, I want to welcome everyone to our nextONE information session. Thank you for joining us. I hope you are excited about applying for this awesome program. And I just wanted to tell you all a little bit about the program and what to be expected, as well as we can talk about the application process as well. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat or in the Q&A, and we'll check them. Good morning, Rodney. And we'll check them there, and I will answer any questions that you guys may have as we go through the presentation. So with that, I will get started. So again, this is our nextONE program informational. It's designed to walk you through the program and to make sure that you don't have any additional questions prior to applying. Now, if I could only figure out, there we go. All right, so our agenda for the morning, and again, this is scheduled from 10 to 11. It'll probably only be about 20 minutes. We can take the whole hour if we need to, but the information is probably only going to be about 20 minutes. The way we're going to set this up is I'm going to do a quick overview of the nextONE program, talk a little bit about what you can expect, talk about the application process. You will hear a testimonial from one of our program who not only has her own business, but who also works closely with me on some of our programming here at the Urban League. And then we'll leave time for questions and answers. I'm Kelly Evans. I am the director of the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation and the vice president of our CEI program here at the Urban League. I've been here a little over a year, almost a year, coming up on a year and a half. And I kind of oversee all of our entrepreneurship programming, including the nextONE program, but all of our programs subsequent to that as well. So a little bit of background information on the nextONE program. So the nextONE program was originally founded in 2007 with a partnership between Northwestern's College Business School and the Chicago Urban League. It was launched under the direction of then President Cheryl Jackson, and it was launched with 2 cohorts from 2007 to 2008. Then it kind of went dormant and we focused on other things at the Chicago Urban League, and it was recently relaunched in 2021 with that cohort finishing up here in 2022. And now we will be launching our next cohort under this new launch this year, February of 2023. Some notable alums, and there are several. I kind of left these here from this presentation prior, but Jimmy Akintande, Ujama Construction, if you guys know him, he's all around the city. He works on a lot of different, a lot of big projects. Then Robin Beeman of Beeman Communications, Robin's company I know worked a lot with BET, so she had some really, really well-known contracts. And then Amy Hilliard from Comfort Cakes. Not only is she a nextONE alumni, but she was also a speaker at our nextONE cohort last year, talking about all that her company has been able to do, not just since nextONE, but in addition to the support that she received through nextONE. So those are some great alums. Also not listed here is an alum that just came through our last cohort, Jimmy and Tiffany Williams of Urban Roots Landscaping Company. They are such a great success story. They actually, from their work with the nextONE program here at the Chicago Urban League, have been able to become contractors with the Obama Presidential Library. So that's a really, really big deal for them. And we're really excited and proud to be able to have helped them scale their business so that they could land those types of contracts. So the nextONE program is a 9-month cohort program. It meets monthly in a classroom style setting, as well as one-on-one counseling. The program launches on February 17th with a reception kickoff. The application deadline will be January 20th, which is Friday, by end of day at 5 o'clock. We're going to be selecting 10 to 15 businesses to be a part of this cohort. It's not our inaugural cohort, but our second cohort actually. And so we are looking forward to seeing you all's applications come through. So what does the ideal nextONE candidate look like? Of course, because we're the Chicago Urban League, we focus on African American wealth generation. We're looking for Black-owned businesses with annual gross receipts of 250,000 and up. So these are not this is not a program for startups or early stage businesses, but this is really a accelerated program for businesses that are scalable and ready to scale. So those receipts are important in order to get the full benefit of everything that we have going on here. Also, we ask for people to have at least 2 employees, and that 2 employees can be including the business owner. And they can actually be 1099 employees. We prefer them to be employees, but we will accept 1099 employees, and we'll actually be helping you figure out how to hire and build capacity in your business. And that's one of the tenets that we are teaching in this program. Also in operation for at least 2 years. Special priority is given to businesses in the following industries: professional services, technology, food services, cannabis adjacent businesses. We are focusing on these industries because these are high growth industries, and we want to make sure that we are supporting Black businesses in these areas of concern, so that we are, having some representation and making sure that our businesses are also being able to participate. The program components. We talk about our program having accelerated business training from faculty at Booth Polsky, which is the University of Chicago, our corporate partners and top industry practitioners. We also work with, okay, there we go. All right. I don't know where I left off, but I'll just start back at the beginning of this slide where we were talking about our industry professionals that support our work. Of course, we have Booth Polsky, which is University of Chicago, our corporate partners and industry practitioners. And I was mentioning that, and please forgive me if I'm being repetitive. I just don't know where I dropped off. But some of our corporate partners include ITW, Boeing. We work with MHub. We work with ITW. We work with Verizon. And so all of our partners who not only fund our programs but also participate with our programs come in and support our businesses. Part of the reason that we have a lot of corporate partners that come in and do some of the teaching, and we do have entrepreneurs as well, but some of our corporate partners come in because they help us to make sure that we're building the right kind of capacity with our businesses, so that those businesses can then go on and access those supply chains and procurement opportunities with those partners, which is a really, a really tangible outcome that we want to see from nextONE. Our businesses scaling to the point where they can get large contracts. And the best way to do that is to bring in those corporate partners to talk about what are those needs, what are those, where are those gaps that can be filled, so that we can make sure that we're getting more businesses in front of big procurement opportunities with these larger organizations. So that's the training part. Also, there are introductions to procurement officers, as I just mentioned, and category leaders at public agencies and corporate firms. So in addition to our corporate firms and procurement officers, public agencies as well. So how do you get those, how do we get our businesses in front of those public agencies that buy products as well? Government entities generally, nonprofit organizations such as, CPS and big firms like that, who do a lot of procurement and buys from smaller companies. And so we have those folks coming in, and we are able to make those introductions and talk about those businesses and what they can offer to those larger firms. Also included in the program is mentoring and rigorous one-to-one and group coaching. So our classroom work is about 90 minutes every month. And then we have mentoring and rigorous one-on-one group coaching that goes throughout the month as well. When you work with, you will be working one-on-one with a mentor that you will be assigned throughout the program. And then we have industry specific workshops. So we have workshops with like those specific industries that we talked about. folks who are interested in that or in those businesses will have the opportunity to have those industry specific workshops to talk about what are trends, what are growth strategies, how do you operate within those industries, and get that real specific information from professionals who are currently in those areas. Feel free to jump in if you guys have questions as I go through. You don't necessarily have to wait until the end of the presentation. So what is the application process? Complete the initial program application by end of day on Friday, January 20th. That's this Friday at 5. It's not a very difficult application. It's really just basic information about you and your business. And from that information, we will be selecting applicants, like we said, between 10 and 15 to be invited to complete the second round of application. And that's where we will be requesting your financial records to be uploaded to our system so that we can take a look at that. So businesses who are accepted into the program or get to the next round have to have financial records. Those financial records are tax returns, their profit and loss statements, there are income statements that talk about your revenue flows. And so all of those, we cannot we can't accept businesses that don't have those financial records, because that is one way that we know what it is that you need to grow and scale your business and where you're trying to go. So a lot of our partners who are able to bring on our businesses also require certain financial floors for businesses that they do work with. And so that's why the financial records are so very important to make sure that you have to be admitted into this program. Step 3, we'll be selecting applicants, and you'll be invited to a virtual face-to-face interview with the selection committee. The selection committee is made up of some of our partners, as well as our advisory board, of our nextONE advisory board, and our Chicago Urban League staff. And so all interviews will be different. It'll have a different committee. Each applicant will have a different committee of folks who are interviewing them. And it'll also be an opportunity to ask questions and to talk about why a program like nextONE is right for you and what you are trying to get out of it. And that's really, really important to me, to make sure that not only do our applicants understand the expectation for the program, but that we understand what applicants are trying to get out of the program, because the work that you will be experiencing is very specific to your needs, specific to your business. Our mentors and our experts who you'll be paired with need to have specific information about your line of work. And so we want to know specifically what are your pain points and how do we design programming to address those. And that's not easy, right? So we've got 12 to 15 people. We got 12 to 15 different expectations of what folks want to get out of it. And we want to be able to tailor our work and our support of each business to that those needs that the businesses have. So the face-to-face interview is extremely important. And we're asking all of our applicants to really think about what it is you need help with, how we can support, and what do you expect to get out of the nextONE accelerator. And then number 4, or the fourth step, is that the final cohort will be selected and announced through a press release. We're going to have a big reception to welcome you into this program, and also just to meet and mingle and have a real conversation about, you know, what's going on and how we can help and support. No questions? All right. So now we get to the good part. We have an alumni testimonial from JT Stinnett, who is online with us now. And I'll let her introduce herself, but JT went through our program a few years ago. She'll talk about that, but also works very closely with me now around our cannabis programming. And she's just a wonderful person. And I would like to say that we had everything to do with it that way. And so I want her to talk to you a little bit about her experience with the nextONE program and what it's done for her professionally moving forward.
Thank you, Kelly. I don't know if I can do my video, but I can do my video, but when I click started, it won't let me. So it has to
Let
go
me see if I can, let me see if I can do it.
Very good.
I can't figure it out. Go ahead, JT, just start talking and I'm gonna see if I can let you in.
Absolutely. So I'm JT Stinnett. I am a nextONE alum, proudly to say. And first, I want to say thank you, Kelly, for the opportunity to speak to prospective nextONE participants, but also for that great introduction. You are fantastic to work with, and that is one of the benefits of having the affiliation through nextONE. I have continued to be close to the Chicago Urban League, and it is an honor to work alongside you on the Equity and Justice in Action Compact with regard to cannabis. So I'm JT Stinnett, a lawyer by training, but entrepreneur through and through. And I was a part of the second class for nextONE in 2008. That year, Obama was elected. I can remember everything that was going on around the city. And we heard about the nextONE program. At the time, I was a part of a company, a principal of a company, Stinnett and Brown, that I founded with one of my very best friends and my husband. And we had a green affordable housing company. And 2008 was the start of the economic downturn. So it was a time of a lot of, you know, just as an entrepreneur, unknowns. And it wasn't a time where we were really enthused about taking on an obligation. And we learned about the nextONE program, came in, interviewed. It was the best decision that we could have made at the time to participate. And I'll echo, give you pointers of why it was the best decision, echoing Kelly's presentation on the things that nextONE provides. There were three very important components that our business absolutely needed that we didn't even know we needed until we did the program, and we were so grateful to have received it. One, the networking. The alums that I met in my cohort and in the previous cohort, I am still, friends with today, colleagues, still work together. It is a fantastic opportunity to meet other like-minded businesses that are poised for acceleration. I cannot emphasize enough the benefit of the networking and the lasting relationships with your fellow participants, but also with Chicago Urban League staff, with the coaches, with the mentors. The mentoring is priceless. The business acceleration is point two, and scaling. At the time, we were focused on green rehab, and because of the economic downturn, it was important for us to diversify our business. And we learned some key tools and ways that we could do that by participation. So we all principals became lead APs at the direction and instruction and encouragement of our nextONE coaches and staff that we worked with. We were featured in the Museum of Science and Industry for Project Green Hills, which was an urban revitalization program that we developed. Fantastic. Wouldn't have been able to get that kind of illumination but for our affiliation with nextONE. And that green urbanism program I later introduced and worked with the city of Gary to share. So that was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. And finally, the education and the coaching, priceless, absolutely priceless. I can remember lessons that I learned. One was on negotiation. A Northwestern professor provided us some great tips that I still use to this day. And one was some practical advice from a coach who was heading up the program at the time, and he dropped a jewel, and that was everything is an evaluation. And as a small business owner, whatever we do, our interactions, we're always constantly carrying and wearing our brand, and that really stuck with me. So I would encourage anyone who is thinking about getting that application in, and us as entrepreneurs, we're always very busy and we don't always have time to do, we don't think we have time to add anything else to our plate. This is something I would encourage you to get the application done, go through the process. Your graduated nextONE company will thank you for being interested in taking this opportunity for all that it's worth. Is that a good overview, Kelly?
That was.
I don't know why we're losing you. You're muted. Maybe I'll mute and then.
Okay, I'm just having all kinds of Zoom issues today. Yes, JT, that was a great overview and a great testimonial of how the program supports. And I just want to let people know, one, we'll be able to have more opportunity to talk with alumni, because this cohort, we are definitely going to be implementing our alumni networking events. JT and I and some other alums have been talking about this for a year now, trying to get everybody together, because what we do realize is that as you're going through an accelerated program and you're learning, the real work comes after the accelerator is over, in terms of how do you apply that information, and having the opportunity to meet with alums to talk about, like, what have you been able to do? Have you been able to utilize the information is so vitally important. And to also just work as kind of operate as mentors, saying that, this is something that, is really beneficial, and this will continue to be beneficial. And as you guys have listened to JT, she's had, a couple of different iterations of the work that she's done. And the same will be for a lot of us here, right? With the business you started out with may not be the business that you finish with. And that's okay, because the skills that you learn throughout the process is what's most important, which can be applied to no matter business model and what it is that you're doing. And so thank you, JT. That was awesome. I hope you guys enjoy her testimony as much as I do. And I love working with her. We are besties now. But the work that we're doing here is not only important, but it's really, really beneficial to the businesses that come through us. So we did have a question in the chat from Yvette. She said, "Can I that meet the requirements participate?" We've got a young leader transitioning as our founder moves out. We have a nonprofit social enterprise training, meeting, wellness, and entertainment center. And so Yvette, absolutely, nonprofits can apply. We actually had a nonprofit, community-based civil engagement, I think, nonprofit was part of our last cohort. And so yes, you absolutely can apply. And as we talk in the interview, we can talk about what you want to get out of it, how we can help, and how we can support. We also, though, have another program through the Chicago Urban League called Impact. And I would ask you to look at that as well. Certainly encourage you to apply for nextONE, but just want to make sure that wherever you apply is the best place for you. We would love to have you. But if Impact is a better program, we could talk about that too. But absolutely, the answer to your question is yes, particularly if you are a social enterprise. We have a alumni graduate, Brenda Palms Barber, who has the North Lawndale Employment Network on the west side of Chicago. Awesome social enterprise. She works with returning citizens, and they have an actuary, which is like a beekeeping business where they actually make honey and they grow bees or raise bees or whatever you do with bees. But they make honey and they have a cafe. And so they are a nonprofit with a social enterprise mission, who did very, very well in nextONE. And they are just blowing up the game in Illinois. She's been in business for a really long time. So long answer to a short question. Yes, you absolutely can apply, and I encourage you to do so. Any more questions? I don't see anything else. Okay. If you have any questions, now is the time to ask. If you don't have any questions and want to get to it, I'm happy to let you guys free for the day, but also wanted to make sure that you have my contact information. I am Kelly Evans. My email address here is kevans@shyul.org. That's KEVANS at CHIUL.org. If you have any questions about the application or you need any support getting it complete, please feel free to reach out to me and we will get back to you as soon as possible. So if there are no more questions, I again thank you guys for being here. I thank you to my whole entire team for helping put this together, to our CUL family, Quentin and Leela, who are also on line, making sure that this goes right. And thank you to JT for participating. And without further ado, enjoy the rest of your week.